Anyway. Let's get into the nitty gritty. I don't want to read the rest of the shit.
We are learning more about Israel's proposed deal. It includes a ceasefire, the return of all remaining hostages, and next phases for Gaza once the war has ended. Hamas, on their part, has released a statement saying that they are ready to work with the new proposal. CBS News foreign correspondent Imtiaz Tyab has more.
Well, this is an extraordinary development that it seems, at least, that Israel has agreed to or is even putting forward this multi-phase process, which would not only see the release of hostages, but would also see an end to the war and a full withdrawal of Israeli forces from Gaza. This is seismic, huge. The ball now in Hamas's court. Hamas will have to come to the table eventually and say whether or not they accept this deal. I will remind you that a few weeks ago, Hamas did accept a deal, which is not too
I'm losing my fucking mind that, like, the media is just collectively engaging in this very obvious consent manufacturing. It's just like, how can you say the two things at the same time? He's about to say, oh, it's very close to what Hamas accepted.
Similar from this one, although the Israeli government said that it, quote, fell far short of their expectations, and yet here we are. Now, I also want to point out the timing of this announcement from the president. Here in Israel, it is Shabbat, the Sabbath, in which many Israelis are at home. Many are not engaging with electronics. They aren't looking at their phones. They're not watching the news. And so for many of them, including...
Yeah, bro, Biden did this. Biden the anti-Semite. Yes, bro. He did this on a Saturday. He snuck this on him. You see that? Brandon, the motherfucking anti-Semite. He didn't do this because he wanted to drop it on a Friday with the least amount of fucking media coverage on it, when the least amount of eyeballs are on it. He did this specifically because Friday is actually Saturday in Israel, which means, you know, many Jews are not going to be on their phones. Masterful gambit, dude. It's definitely that other thing and not the first thing that I mentioned. You're losing anti-Semitic of the week to Biden now? Yeah. Oh, 100p.
Israeli politicians, they will be learning about this in around 24 hours from now, from sunset on Saturday, when they will switch back on their phones and read the news and watch the news and come to understand what this agreement is. And the reason I say this is interesting choreography is, from what it sounds like, is that the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has reached this agreement with the President of the United States. But we also heard from the President calling out, if you will, the extreme elements within the Israeli government. And it does seem like that whatever this deal was not with them involved. Whatever the case, this is a potentially huge moment in this nearly 8-month war in which so many lives have been lost, 1,200 on October 7th, and of course, well over 36,000 in Gaza. Of course, the situation in Gaza is incredibly dire. The people there saying they just want to see the violence to end, and this appears to be the closest we've been. Lana.
All right, Imtiaz Tyab for us in East Jerusalem. Thanks, Imtiaz.
If Nikki Haley's comments are made by a private citizen and therefore don't require any comment from you, why did this administration criticize people who spoke out in favor of those in Palestine demanding a ceasefire and were quite vocal? What's the difference?
When did we do that?
I interviewed the Israeli filmmaker this week, and the PR people behind the movie sent me a letter demanding we remove the parts he criticized the Israeli government. Lame. Bro, the Israeli government, many people don't know this because Israel is the most moral and the best democracy in the world, not just the Middle East, like literally better than anybody else. But many people don't even realize how fucking censorious the Israeli government is. Like, it came out recently, as you guys know, that Local Call 972 magazine and The Guardian released this bombshell investigative reporting about how the Mossad was actively threatening blackmailing and trying to fucking remove from power, or at the very least, like, infiltrate and subvert the investigation that the International Criminal Court was conducting against Israel. Then there's an addition to this story. It turns out a Haaretz piece and a Haaretz investigative reporting on this exact same thing, because this happened for 10 years, literally was written 2 fucking years ago. And they threatened the reporter. They were like, bro, you will go to prison if you fucking write this article. Here it is. Oh, wait, no, this isn't that article, but this is this the marker, not Haaretz, but the same thing? This is a different article. So Haaretz the other day got censured again. So then they just released it with the censures, with the fucking bars. This is a different one though, but it goes along with the same thing. They just fucking straight up go nutty mode. Here it is. New twist on the Mossad intimidation of the ICC. Haaretz said it had the story in 2022. Israeli government officials used emergency powers to prevent the story from being published. Reporter told he would suffer the consequences of publication. Best motherfucking democracy in the world, bitch. This is what I mean when I say you show this shit to an American or anyone in the Western world, they're gonna be like, what the fuck? What the fuck? If I told you Israel's doing this shit 5 years ago in a progressive circle, you would look at me and go, that's an anti-Semite. Fuck, man. Your name is Hasan. That tracks. Okay? Right now, though, 8 months after Israel's genocide in Gaza, when you fucking hear about this, you're like, oh my God, this is insane, but it makes sense. It's par for the course. That's the difference. And it's impossible for me not to see that reality, that fucking genuine change of attitude. No, it's a different article that was recently censored. The thing you're talking about is the 2022 Haaretz sister outlet, The Marker. Yeah, Yossi Cohen being kicked out of the Congo. They wrote about it in 2022. The story included details but was censored. The same journalist wanted to publish about this after the IC thing came out but was censored again. Look. Haaretz reporter had the story of the Mossad chief threatening the top ICC prosecutor, but the Israeli authorities said if he published it, he'd suffer the consequences and get to know the interrogation rooms of the Israeli security authorities from the inside. Gur Megiddo is the guy who was the reporter on this. How the Israeli security nixed Haaretz's report into alleged Mossad extortion of international court prosecutor. In 2022, Haaretz was about to publish the details of the affair, but the security officials thwarted it. The revelations could not have come at a worse time for Israel. It's just crazy. It's crazy, man. Yeah, I love that they basically threaten Israelis by saying, we're going to treat you like a Palestinian if you don't shut the fuck up. It is cartoonish evil. Is this chat in subs mode only? No. Anyway, this is Bassem Tamimi, which is Ahed Tamimi's father, I think, but they're not allowing that article to be written either. So Haaretz was like, "Fuck you," and then they released the censored version. Anyway, please make it subs only. No.
Well, do you want to talk about the number of times that they were described as anti-Semitic? Even any time there was a pro-Palestinian protest, it seemed to be that the administration was quite happy.
you are conflating 6 different things, and your question is a little bit not on the level. Let's talk about the facts here. Protests, whether they be on college campuses or elsewhere, they inherently are not anti-Semitic. There have been, of course, over the
Fat Sagar back at it again.
course of these protests, been imagery, there have been chants, there have been slogans, there have been signage that has been anti-Semitic.
He's the weakest out of all of them. Him and the woman, I forget what her name is, are literally the worst. Like, and the worst isn't like you could tell that they're fucking, that their heart's not in it. You know what I mean? Is this Sabrina Singh? I don't know what her name is. Whatever. It's you got pointy white guy, you got Kirby, pointy white guy Matt Miller, you got the lady, and you got Fat Sagar. No, not Karine Jean-Pierre, man. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about State Department spokespersons and like the NSC. Sabrina Singh and Fat Sagar are the 2 worst ones. They are just literally giving up. Matt Miller is also pretty bad. Matt Miller is also pretty bad. Nobody touches Kirby. Kirby is with it. Kirby is so fucking genocidal. He is literally like, I wish I was there. Just put me in a fucking, strap me to a JDAM and guide me directly into a Palestinian mosque. I am with it. Okay? He's like, guide me like your precision guided missiles. I want to kill as many Palestinians as I personally can. That's why I hate him the most. He is so evil. He is so fucked up.
Also, what we are talking about in those circumstances is protesters who, in some instances, have broken the law, taking over buildings, occupying certain areas within specific.
He's like about to cry. He's like, they've broken the law. They've broken the law. It makes me sad. Shut the fuck up.
Municipalities. Those are not expressions of free speech.
You are right. Asked yesterday if Netanyahu's policies put Biden and him in a more difficult position, Kirby said, I'm perfectly comfortable.
Prime Minister Netanyahu's policies put President Biden in more and more difficult position.
Watch.
And you also.
Me? I'm perfectly comfortable. I'm fine. Thank you. No, I mean, the president takes the weight of these decisions very seriously. He takes his obligation to Israel very seriously. And the responsibility that the United States has to help Israel defend itself against a truly genocidal threat. You want to talk about, you want to throw that word genocide around? Then read the Hamas manifesto.
Like, tell me there's not a fucking significant change of energy. Oh God, I hate him. I hate him so much. Just like, he is so fucking smarmy and so invested personally in this genocide. I don't know what it is. I just like, I get real bad fucking vibes from him. I think he loves it. I do. Not to get all parasocial with this fucking dipshit, but I do legitimately think he is with it. He's like, this is the best. Oh, this was funny. Sorry. This is a funny moment, at least. Here, this is a real human moment.
Can you tell us, sir, Donald Trump refers to himself as a political prisoner and blames you directly. What's your response to that, sir? Do you think the conviction will have an impact on the campaign? We'd love to hear your thoughts, sir.
Should he be on the ballot, sir?
Bro. Bro. It's weird, man. It's funny, though. Oh, God. Goes kind of hard, I fear. Oh, yeah, no. It's like... Yeah. Ori Goldberg had the Sabbath take as well, so maybe I'm wrong. Brief, more tomorrow, thoughts about Biden's speech and the Israeli proposal. It's important to watch timing just before the Sabbath, which means the settlers of the Netanyahu government will face a 24-hour-old narrative come Saturday evening. This is smart, but also reeks of desperation. The Biden administration is adopting the argument Netanyahu is preparing for the tribunals of the future. They made me do it. Biden is scheming with Netanyahu rather than drawing a line in the sand. This should be remembered. 2, only days ago, Israel's national security advisor told hostage families that his government will not able to reach a hostage deal. He also told the Israeli public that the war will require 7 more months. That's important. I mentioned that as well. This could simply be a response for Hamas' attempt to dictate the narrative by demanding that fighting cease, and as an initial condition for negotiations. Israel's indeed that hard-pressed for any kind of strategic logic. It could be related to domestic Israeli policies. As Israel's economy takes a nosedive, his former friends now seem more threatening than ever. The EU examining Israel's Israeli association. Netanyahu may be beginning to realize that broad support for the war and to genocide may not guarantee his survival. Israelis are beginning, at the edges of their collective comprehension, to grasp the new status as pariahs and rogues. Good. They've been in a fucking psychopathic, bloodlust-filled bubble for the past 8 months, thinking that they're alone in the world, and for no good reason, and also because, like, the world is all anti-Semitic. This is no way to live life, okay? You cannot be normal and live your life like this. That is, by the way, unironically, the entire fucking point of BDS in the Western world. It is to create a fucking massive pressure valve that causes Israeli society to say, whoa, these places where I was like, these places where I thought like we were aligned with perfectly, that thought that we were like the most moral nation on the planet, the best liberal democracy, not only in the Middle East, but maybe all around, maybe is not being perceived that way. Why are my friends, or people that I previously thought were my friends, why are they fucking behaving like this? Perhaps there's something to what they are saying. Let me investigate a little bit further. Let me re-examine. Now, will that actually cause genuine re-examination? I don't know, but it's good. They are not pleased. Remember that Israel's patented move is having our cake and eating it too. A leader under whom we face the music is a failure. Potential for slight optimism. Sometimes all you need is some respite. I've written here consistently, I don't think that Israel's hell-bent on a conscious plan to kill as many Palestinians as possible. Israel, I think, just doesn't care. What is the upside? Israelis, most of us anyway, are sheep. We will stop if stopped. We will stampede if driven. We had a 2-week ceasefire months ago. The entire country was transformed. Now we are dilapidated and decrepit, knowing and seeing nothing, waiting to be put out of our misery. It's a very funny way to bring this up. No, I get what he's saying when he says it's not about like killing all Palestinians, because the reality of the matter is, if they wanted to kill all Palestinians, you know, there's not a lot of political appetite for it, but they could have focused more on killing as many Palestinians as possible instead of destroying all matter of Palestinian homes and civil society. It's about displacement, and it's about making it so that